mean the people who are actually doing the work, because I farm in a spreadsheet, but I want the people who actually farm on the ground to come and join me here. And on that, I will first ask Louisa to come to the stage and join us in the panel. Dr. Bennett, if you can also come and join us here in the stage. And I will also ask Dr. Khaya to come and join us, and Dr. Eric also to come and join us here in stage to discuss some of these points. And these colleagues are the folks that have actually done much of the amazing work with CGA. And of course, we have here in stage about 4 people, but if you were to look at the numbers of how many growers are in the developmental chamber side of CGA, there's many more people on that. But we thought that listening to the stories and the problems and the successes of all of these colleagues will be much more meaningful in this conversation. And in here, if you look in the stage, the gentleman that is sitting towards me is Khaya Katoo, and he has for many years worked in the telecoms industry, and after some time transitioned and started farming in a family farm, and he sits in many boards at CGA. Many of you may remember him from the Citrus Chamber, where he's a member, PPECB, he sat there as a director, and in other various areas. And I will begin with Khaya, because Khaya, you farm not very far from here, so we are in your home ground. It's only right that we start from hearing from you. And the key question that I will pose from you, Khaya, is that just tell us a little bit about your enterprise and also just the general farming conditions in your area. You heard Bruce speaking about problems at a national level. Ferdy spoke about global problems, but now we want to hear more of the regional problems and the farming conditions in your area, Khaya.
Okay, thank you very much, Wandile. Let me greet the House this afternoon, and also express our appreciation to Justin for allowing us this opportunity. I mean, there's so much in the industry that's going on at the moment this to talk about, but I mean, you managed to get us this portion just to talk about transformation in our areas. The challenges of the black farmers in South Africa is so complex. It's even difficult to speak about it. That on its own is a challenge, because if you start talking about the challenges of the black farmers, you might be seem like you are blaming everybody else and not you. You, the right one, and everybody else is against you. I normally liken ourselves as black farmers to a tree called M7. We put in a lot of water on that tree, and we put in a lot of fertilizer on that tree. It keeps on dwarfing. It doesn't grow. So we liken ourselves, actually me, I don't know the rest, we're not growing. And the question is, why are we not growing? It's because of this problem that we're facing in our environment as black farmers. It's actually over and above most of the farmers that are sitting here, our challenges as black farmers. All that has been spoken here as challenges, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to go straight to our challenges as black farmers. I've got a problem even now. By the end of June, I have to go back to my group of 200 members and go explain to them why we're not going to give dividends, why we're not going to pay money back to them, why have we lost, why did we have to pay in. Imagine the people I'm reporting to them, most of them are working right on the farm itself. And now they've seen the truck going out of the farm, they've seen the fruit, it was good quality, size was right, everything was perfect. Now I must come back and tell them what has happened. How do I do that? And most of them are not educated, and how do I explain that to them? So that's one of the challenges where it's going to sound again, I'm blaming somebody. The government has put us into farms, hundreds of people in one farm, which it's really a recipe for failure. As a result, many of us, we end up selling this farm because of that. Because, I mean, it's sustainable. People that have been there, they can't get anything for 5 years. Yeah. There's more challenges. I don't know if I should continue because I can talk all the time. You must guide me if I must stop. Yeah, one of the
Yeah.
challenges which I also need to push it also is a institution, financial institution. There is no financial institution that is designed for black farmers in this country. I've had the blended finance. I've applied for it 3 times already since it was incepted. 3 times already. So I'll tell you the third reason why I wasn't accepted. I won't tell the other ones. The reason I wasn't accepted, it was because of my farmers have a turnover of less than 10 million. What does that mean? I also don't know what does that mean, but I suspect it's because of I've been called a lot of time a small-scale farmer or a smallholder, or I'll rather be called a black farmer instead of being a smallholder farmer, because I get treated like a small person. That's why they can even dictate how much must I get from the bank. So at the moment, I was speaking on Monday with a commercial farmer on my valley. We're talking about transformation.
Yes.
Now he's saying to me, Khaya, you know, in our time, when we started farming, we had land bank. Land bank was on our side. And the land bank could give us money. And if we fail in one season due to whatever reason we fail, we have what we call, I don't know if farmers will agree with that, if they know, we had what we call it a agricultural credit board. That will assist you if you fail. And then they assist you up until you come out, give you loan at a very low interest rate. And he say, I don't know why you guys don't have that. And which to me, it shows really we don't have what talks to us. I can tell you many of the founders, but I don't want to mention the name because I don't want to blame again and say everybody is wrong, I'm right. I mean, I applied for 40 hectares in different institutions 2020. I had to turn another 20 back because of, they say, Khaya, he wants to ask a lot of money. 40 hectares. I want 20 on this one. I had to cancel the other one so that I can get the other one, which is unfair. It's because I've been called a small-scale farm. We are different. We should be also considered as commercial farmers, not small farmers. We need to graduate. These are the things that cause us to be retarded. M7.
No.
I don't know if I should continue.
Khaya, you made a strong intervention there. There's a teacher of many of us who are agricultural economists in the room called Professor Johan Kestin. He usually insists that scale is not an issue of a land size, but more on a commercial basis. And I appreciate the point you're making, that you are commercializing, you cannot be remaining as a smallholder farmer. And I'm picking up all of those issues are related to land and financing and all of that, and we'll come back to that, and that's a very important point. But I want to turn for a moment to Miss Louisa Maloka-Mogotsi. Miss Louisa is well known to many of you in the industry. She started off as a social worker, but transitioned and got into the agribusiness space. And she's also managed to have a great deal of success there, and I don't think she wants also to be called by a smallholder farmer. You are commercializing, right? Big. That's good. Louisa, if you can just paint to us a picture of your enterprise as well as your farmers in your region, because you farm in the Northwest. Some of the colleagues here are from KZN, Limpopo, and all of that, so we're very interested to hear about the farming conditions in your area.
Thank you, Wandile. I'm a grower. I'm a chairperson of the Northwest Study Group. I'm a member of Chamber. I'm sitting in as an observer on the CRI Board of Directors. Having said that, I think I'm big. I've been listening to all the presentations in the morning. Almost everybody somehow talked about transformation. And I start wondering, what is transformation? If at all, I cannot be transformed. Who should transform me? It's the financial institutions. It's clear where I come from. I don't have money. but I have the will to go on. I have an enterprise, Wandile. I have a farm. There is Eskom, there is water. I'm here, I have the energy. I need money to do what I want to do. And there are other farmers in Northwest. We are small in number, not small in stature. We are small in number, but we are trying very hard. And there is an opportunity for growth in the Northwest. Every year is better than last year. There is growth, and it looks like we are making an impact because there are other people who are looking at us and who would want to venture into citrus farming because they appreciate what we are doing. They see what we are doing. They see value in what we are doing. And Wandile, I must, is it bragging or is it telling the truth? To say, last year, recently, during our information day, we invited a lot of students, learners from the colleges, and Ntate Justin, most of them phoned back thereafter to say they were absorbed by other institutions like PPECB because they met them there to give them learnerships. So we have a good story to tell. The frustration is just that we don't have money, we don't have resources to do that. And we hear from Khaya that previously there was a lot of help for people. What became of that help? Why is it that we cannot access that? Our only hope is with Land Bank because it's a developmental bank. We can't talk to these other people. They want a lot of things that they clearly know that we don't have. So where should we go? I'm home here. I'm South African. I belong here. I need this country to take care of me. And if this country takes care of me, I'm sorry that the minister is not here, but I think somebody will give her the message. We have the ability, we have the capability to create jobs and to alleviate poverty. That we can do, but we need a push. We need finance to can do that. There are lots of graduates, agricultural graduates. Where are they going? If at all, I am not going to offer them employment. We see children here in lime t-shirts. These are Citrus Academy students. Where are they going after graduating? When they graduate, they need to find me ready to come and absorb them so that they can carry on. I can talk until tomorrow. I have a lot to say.
Those are really good. Louisa, I'll come back for you because you're making really good interventions there. And one of the things that I want you and Bob Khaya to think about a lot is really to reveal to us what are some of those constraints that the financial institutions make. Because if they are related to issues of tenure and all of those things, we can then distill to say, how do we go forward from there? Because they might have a reason that they are putting forward. But I'm coming back on that question. It will be up next. But I want to maintain presence in the northern parts of the country. With you, Ndate Bennett, Bennett Malungane, most of you know him. He sits at the board here at CGA, and he farms in the northern part of the country. And there is a commonality between him and myself and the BFAP colleagues that is also affiliated with Stellenbosch University. So Bennett is a Marty. And Bennett, I want to start with you to just also give us a flavor of the area at which you're farming in there. Production conditions, what are the guys next to you telling you, and what are you observing?
Thank you, Wandile, after such a long time. When we met this morning, I told you that I've been attacked by COVID 2 times, but I managed to live because I'm a farmer. And then the reason was why. I said, you know what? When these scientists create these chemicals for pesticides, when you are a farmer, you go through the orchard and then you get covered by those chemicals, therefore you are protected. That's why I'm still alive. Yeah, Wandile, as you said, I'm Bennett Malungane. I'm a grower. at Mabunda Farmers in Litsitele area in Limpopo. We are 25 black members. We are exporting our product to European countries. We have created 68 permanent jobs. And then during season, we have 300 workers that are benefiting out of our farm. So being in Limpopo is one of the best area to produce citrus that are sweet because it's hot. Our farm is a very isolated farm. Wandile, we are progressing on our farm because we have, most of the commercial farmers along Litsitele who, when you visit them, they can give you advice that what you can do to make a progress on your farm. So we have a good relationship with our commercial farmers along Litsitele area.
No, Dr. Bennett, thanks for those points. And I will transition and go to the place where I spent a lot of time, in Alice, to you, about Eric Nohamba. Mr. Eric Nohamba, very well known also to many of you. He sat in the board here at CGA in a couple of committees, and is a chair at Eden Agri Services. So very familiar, but I want to ask him also a similar question of the production conditions in his area, in your farm, but also what the colleagues around you are seeing.
Thank you, Wandile. I'm not a guy who's talking. I'm the guy who's working. So I'm the farmer. So in our place where I'm coming from the East Cape Midlands, which is Fort Beaufort. They're saying, I saw the WhatsApp today that we're informed that the name Fort Beaufort have been changed to KwaMaqoma.
Ah.
So I'm coming from KwaMaqoma. But the setup there in the East Cape Midlands, it's we're not group of people in one farm. We are individual farmers. So we're running our farms like that, as individual farmers. Wandile, what I can say to you, before last year, I think for 5 years, there is a growth when it comes to production in our area. I'm talking Fort Beaufort, I'm talking Ripley. I think if my estimate is correct, we are producing export cartons of plus minus 600,000 cartons. Including the local is another 200. So that is where I'm coming from. Also, we've got a couple of problems. Some of the guys, they don't have title deed. Now you connect that with the funding. The banks cannot help us so that we can run our farms because of tenure. And some, they do have tenure, some they don't have tenure. That's one thing. Funding. Like what is Khaya saying, it's the same thing. It's the same thing with the black growers. Whether you are at Limpopo, Eastern Cape, KZN, it's the same thing. When it comes to funding, there is no bank that is funding us. No bank. Being commercial, being even land bank, they can't fund us. But there, where I am, we are engaging with the land bank, targeting the blended finance. We've submitted some application there. It's forward and backward information that they need. They are like a commercial bank. They are not different to commercial bank. They need all those things that are needed by commercial bank. I mean land bank. I mean land bank. So it's very difficult to penetrate on that, on the financial institution. But also where I am, there is land for growth. And also there is water. But where I am, we've got a challenge on that. On the Water Users Association, they are saying that there are no additional water rights. But we know that there are water available on the dam. And we're going to pursue on that with DWS, because people, they need to expand in their farming operation. Because Wandile is all about economies of scale. When I started in 1993 in this farming, because I started in 1993, 20 hectares was a viable unit at that time. But now, I think the industry is talking about plus 50 hectares. So we need to expand. And I think Wandile, without saying any, putting all those problems in front, I think those growers are very committed to be part or make some contribution in a big way on this 260 vision of CGA. We want to make a contribution and become part of that in a big way. So you can talk in terms of transformation, your 50 million cartons, we want to take part as that region on that 50 million. Because we do have land and we do have water. But the only thing that we need is funding. We need government to come to the party. You also talked about the AAMP, the master plan, must come to the party for development of black growers. It's good to read it on the papers, Wandile, but we need to implement it. We need it as yesterday. So I think the problems are the same, but where I am, not only water, but also the infrastructure. When I talk infrastructure, I talk about bad roads. Where I am, we produce a very, very good quality citrus fruit when I'm in our region. But the problem is that is bad roads, and you find that the cull factor, most of the cull factor is oleo because of bad roads. Otherwise, we produce a very good quality. We produce between 70 and 80% of export, where I am. It was only 1 year where we discovered that there was some interception of CBS, but mostly we don't have too much of those things like CBS, and we do control them in FCMs. We do control where I am. So we need a help when it comes to funding. We need some intervention. I just want to say as well,
Yes.
as we speak, Wandile, some of the farmers are not able to farm on their farms because of the disaster of last year.
Yeah.
They had nothing when it comes to returns, nothing. And now it's difficult to farm. And also what I would like to also to say that Also, they've got challenges when it comes to the pay houses, Justin. They owe a lot of money on the pay houses, and they are sitting, and some of them, they've got satsumas that they have to pick 2 weeks and plus 3 weeks coming. They're supposed to pick their satsumas, but they don't know where are they going to pick that fruit, because they are owing the pack houses some huge debts. So
I want to come back on those.
we've got big challenges as I speak.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
You make very, very important points there. And I want you to finish that thought in the coming round, thinking about it to say what then needs to happen.
Okay.
What do the growers in your area like to happen to see us growing towards that vision 250? We identify the problems, but what would we like to come see? Keep that on the back of your mind. And colleagues, thank you so much, Mr. Eric, for those points. If we can just give a round of applause for that. And colleagues, Mr. Eric spoke of Magoma. Many of you may know him. Those that don't know, Magoma was the Xhosa chief. He was a commander of the Xhosa forces and fought during the Cape Frontier Wars. He was one of the successful ones at the time. But Khaya, let me come back to you. And I mean, the running theme that I'm hearing, and colleagues on the floor, we have a bit of time, and I'm going to come to you and take a couple of questions if you have a point that you would like to ask the growers in here. If you can just by a show of hand so that our colleagues can help you with the microphone on that. But I want to come to Khaya, and I'll move from you, Khaya, to Ms. Louisa, because you mentioned the issues of finances. But if we can understand, not confidential information, but at a broad level, what you are hearing from the other growers, so that we can see if are there hindrances to finances, things that as an industry and a sector, we can pretty much think about to say, how do we correct then those things that make the banks find it difficult to make business with you at certain times?
Thank you, Wandile. I don't think we need to change the commercial banks, the way they operate. They're operating very fine.
Let's change something then.
Say it again.
No, I'm saying commercial banks are fine.
No,
what do we need to change?
They find we can graduate to them. It's fine, but we need our own bank. We need a corporacy for us as black farmers that is going to serve us, that knows us, that understands us, that when we apply for funding, they know that Khaya, that they don't look for papers, they ask a lot of documents and hundreds and we can't even write our own business plan. We have to go ask somebody else to write our business plan. We pay something like 20, 30,000 for it. And when you take it to the bank or to this institution that the so-called for government, those, what's his name, business plan, they get returned to you. And then they tell you, no, you must put this, now you're thinking, how am I going to fix this? I'll have to take it back to the person that wrote it for me, and then I pay him for that. And then I come and change it again, and then guess what? The year has passed. Those figures are not the same as you were applying. Now it must be changed again, you must take it back to that person. It's a to and fro situation. We just need an institution that talks to us, that listens to us, that understands us, that is on the ground with us.
Thank you so much, Khaya, for that point. Louisa, any addition onto this point? This was a running theme between you and Datu Khaya.
Okay. Like Khaya rightfully says, Wandile, we can't pretend that we are not the people that we are. It's a fact. We don't have money, but it's a fact that we've got farms that we want to make a success of. Another thing, whilst we are still talking about funding, is colleagues from the Department of Agriculture. I think we need to align our relationships. You know, sometimes they have programs like CASP, like what. We hear about them. We never get to see them. They have programs like EPWP, graduate placement. We hear about those. But when you go to them and say, here I am, I have a farm, I can take so many nothing is forthcoming. The year will end. People are saying they are busy doing what? Because I'm part of the business and I'm not getting helped. And maybe if we could, attend to some smaller things, we can reduce the big load. If I have EPWP learners or whatever on the farm, it eliminates me having to pay 10 people. Then it will reduce the amount of loan that I'm asking from that. Maybe that way I will qualify.
Yes.
Yes, but so we have to work together. We have to work together for the benefit of the farmer. We can't operate like silos. This one does that there, and then the government does this, and then the service provider come and do that. When you say, but you people are doing the same thing, let's see how we can do it together. No, the government must spend the money in the way that they have spent. Is there no such thing as deviation, Bagaisu? Can't we talk about these other things and get things right for our benefit? It can't be right that we struggled at some point and we are struggling again today. I'm saying it again, I belong here. Where should I go for help?
All right, very important points, Louisa. And I must say this, and this is a point that Nohamba makes also in his remarks, that the master plan has to speak to black growers. And you see that gentleman that there with the light green shirt, Professor Ferdy Meyer, he helped write it with that gentleman on the right there, Dr. John Purchase. And I must tell you, they kept talking about inclusive growth. And Justin was very vocal about those things, to say inclusive growth, we are growing the pie, black farmers there, existing commercial farmers there, and how do we march forward? So you are very much accommodated in that master plan. It's then about how do we actualize it and put it in practice, which is what I think all of the organizations are attempting to work onto that. I'll come back to you, Nohamba, but I have to go back there to Bob Bennett to say, look, you're doing really good work up in the north in the country, but we have this vision of growing the sector that CGA has been talking about. What would you like, or what do colleagues in your area would like to see being done? We've reflected on the problems, but what are the next steps that would they like to see being done to march us forward toward that vision, both by private sector as well as by the public sector?
Thank you, Wandile. If you could have heard this, the challenge is all about finances to look after our crop. So there's almost 3 requirements from the financial institution. That is the title deed, land, or maybe land ownership, water right, and financial statement. Sometimes as a black growers, we used to ask ourselves question that, who is the owner of the land? Because you go to chief, they will be telling you that the chief is just the custodian of the land belongs to the government. You ask yourself that, who is this government that can help us as the black growers to accelerate the pace of us getting this title deed, so that we can have that land ownership that maybe can open, the doors for us to the financial institution. So that's a very serious challenge, same as the water right. Wandile, for 260 vision, as a farmer, I think it's very important that when you wake up early in the morning, you go to the orchard, you must kneel down, touch the soil, feel it, love the trees that we have planted. So by saying, Wandile, what we are intending to do is that we will have to look at the current trees that we are having, protect the crop, familiarize ourselves with the regulations that are there in terms of, controlling the CBS, FCM, and familiarize ourselves with the guideline of CRI. So it's very important that if our contribution, we are willing to contribute much as we can to this vision 260. So we will make sure that if we can get funds to look and to protect the current trees and the current crop, to produce the best quality product, Because I understand that when we talk about 260 million, it's not just the fruits that are hanging on a tree, it should be the quality products.
Yes. No, thank you so very much for that, Dr. Bennett. Let me look across the room and see if there's any hand that is going up. I don't want to hog the mic. To you, I could say, you may have a question. Do we have a mic that we can pass in here? All right. As the mic is coming, if you can bring it right here, and the gentleman on the red shirt, if we can just let you finish your thought, Bob Nohamba, about the points that you were making that I cut you on, and if you add into that particular point about some of the things that you would see happen as we march towards that vision 2060, which Dr. Bennett was speaking about.
Thank you, Wandile. And I think for me, we need partnership on all of these things. I mean, the industry, government, and banks or financial institutions. I think I'll concur with Khaya. If Land Bank cannot change, I don't know what the right way, I don't want to say attitude. I don't know the other word, but if they cannot change, the government must create another institution where that institution will talk to the black growers.
So finance as we march towards Vision 2060.
Exactly, because we do have land, we do have water. And where I am, we've got good souls there. We are able to produce good quality fruit. There is no doubt about that.
All right.
But we need finance.
All
That's
right.
the bottom line.
All right. What we've learned today is that we need to crystallize more on the issues of finance. But I think on the finance, it comes more as a symptom. We have to push aggressively to what the minister talked about and the president, which they call is the Agricultural Development and Land Reform Agency. Because what that agency speaks about is a core problem that all of these gentlemen and the lady were talking about here, Louisa, about the issue of difficulties to access the banks. And that deals with the issues of tenure. And that land agency promises to talk to 30-year tradable land leases, to talk about extending the title deeds in some parts of the land that you will operate in. And I do think that as a sector, we need to move aggressively on that and push for it to be launched and operationalized. And the document I have had sight of, it's not going to be another departmental unit, but rather a more standalone unit with private sector present, organized agriculture present, and of course the government or departments having a representation there as a delivery tool for the redistribution pillar of land reform. And I think that is going to be able to help us address many of these things. And of course, the blended finance that is already there to be crystallized. But with all of these colleagues, let's give another round of applause to these colleagues and help me hand the gift for you all. Thank you so very much.